Welcome everyone. Today we have our third editions of our summit and our theme is information and communication technology for women entrepreneurships. We are working with Collated Lab, Rwanda. Already we finished two of our sessions. And most important thing is that today we will discuss about women entrepreneurship. Women entrepreneurship is a very important for economic development, especially for developing world. Rwanda is one of the developing nations, those who have very good future, we believe, and we believe Rwanda is a Singapore of Africa. So with lot of their youth, hopefully they can achieve developed world standard and procedure. And World Talent Economy Forums, we have a very good opportunity to work with Collated Lab. Beside this open dialogue, we are helping Collated Lab for policy developments, and we will train 600 women entrepreneurs with the help of Collated Lab. Already, government officials, Rwanda Development Bank, different government agencies and corporations, they joined today. Today also, two of our friends from Collated Lab and another Miano from Code Academy. She will already join and they will discuss on women entrepreneurship. And we have our world famous speaker, Professor Ainul Jaria, Professor Dr. Soha Hakiki, Professor Donalds, and one of the famous entrepreneur from Silicon Valley, Dalsi. So I want to request first Professor Ainul Zaria from International Islamic University, Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. So it's a real pleasure to be able to meet everyone from across the globe in one forum. And Sharif invited me to speak about women entrepreneurship and how IT can help empower women entrepreneurship. So when we look, if we go back to the SDG, all of us are aware about the SDG. This is nothing new for us. In Malaysia, we also subscribe to SDG, and we can see clearly that SDG Goal 5 talks about gender equality, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Yeah, and then we have also UNDP in Malaysia, also UNDP international level that focuses on gender equality and women's empowerment beyond human rights, but also as a pathway to help achieve the SDG. um, I belong to this. I don't know. Maybe we were just saying, possibly, what women need is opportunity, and also, the what do I say? It really depends on the background of the family as well as the country. Like in Malaysia, I'd like to zoom into Malaysia, just to share what's happening in Malaysia. We women, in the initial stage, the culture of Malaysia is that women and men work together. They work in the field. Most Asian, Southeast Asia, Malaysia is part of Southeast Asia. So women and men work together. The men will go to the field and women will be at home. So to the extent that we have a special law that provides for women to get half share of the matrimonial property upon divorce or upon the death of the husband. See, that's how much recognition the woman's right is there. This is the Sharia law plus the Malay culture, which is very much adhered to by the Muslims, as well as by the Malay custom. So with all this background, we moved from British to British regime. British brought in British law, but still recognize the customary principles. Then the women work together. But when there's a choice to be made between man and woman, between a son and a daughter to be educated, usually it's the son who gets the opportunity. Yeah, this is where, in this 50s, 60s, 70s, more men, all the sons in the family were sent for higher education, and they come back and the family does this by sacrificing the daughter's education. But now it's no longer that case, because sometimes when the men come back, they are quite selfish. Not you, Sharif or Donald, but there's some men who are quite selfish. They don't come back to help develop the family. But the girls, this is where girls, they the way they help the family is in a different level. Although they get married, when they have the opportunity, they help their parents more. This is very, very very clear with the Malay community. The girls often look after the parents, to a better extent. Then we have this. We have no quota for men and women in education. Everyone's given equal opportunity, and in fact, the government is looking at empowering women entrepreneurs, empowering single mothers, women who went through domestic violence or lost their husband. And also we are looking at educating girls who have been sexually abused. We know sexual abuse is everywhere. We cannot say it's not here. It's happening everywhere. Sexual grooming, there's so many things around us, brought by especially the internet has opened up lots and lots of challenges for the young people, especially through these special websites that we are not so aware about. Yeah? During our time, we have less challenges in this from this social media and internet. And what the government is doing now is also trying to give women 30% women in decision making position, which have yet to come to that level. Women are appointed to decision making position, but yet the men dominate. Even politics, we have more male ministers than female. But coming to one scheme that we have, I would like to share this special scheme where they call it Amana Itia, where they empower women with funding. One, two, is funding is very important actually. Funding. Two, assist them with technology, how to market their products, how to use the computer, finance, accounting. I developed a module for entrepreneurship skills. So I looked at law, look at accounting, risk management, business, marketing and promotion activities, as well as R&D in developing the products, yeah, which is very important, especially when you look at food or some cottage industry. They have very good quality materials, but they don't have the R&D. So this particular module we developed for the government, it worked very well. And also we brought in some uh, I like to bring this accountability part. Accountability looks at when you're given a loan, you must be accountable to the funder. So this funding that we provide under Amana, it has very limited funds, about £1,000 only, 1,000 or one, sorry, yeah, £1,000 or 1,250 USD. So it's like 5,000 ringgit. But there are very successful stories under this Amana Itia, where the support, it shows that they need support, they need opportunity. So there are people who make about £10,000 on this project after developing the business with all the relevant support. So it shows that they are successful. And when they are successful, they get mentors under them. So this is how we develop. So women, to me, at certain level, I believe women should not always look for assistance. They should be empowering other women. We are in a position, especially we are here. To me, I believe I'm in a position to empower other women because I've been empowered. So when women, we empower. So we need to really see how women can help women. We must stop blaming the men, and we Muslims, we believe that fitrah means this is the nature we are created. Women are like this, men are like that. It's very difficult. Men are from Mars, it's very it's true everywhere. It's true everywhere. So we have to go beyond all this, but what beyond all this to say that yes, let us come together. We have good men as well. Like my husband is a very good person. He stand beside me to see me, do my postgraduate education, take care of the family. Just everything that is to be done outside the house. And my task is just to sit at the workstation. We in Malaysia we get very good domestic help. There's certain support system in Malaysia that enables the woman to be empowered. But again, there are also women who are not empowered, who are victimized. So there are many layers in the society that that need to be addressed. So I always believe that women who are empowered, who are successful, to be out, to go out and make sure that they assist the other who need. And we must not, especially for NGOs. There's another trend that I'm witnessing now. We have non-governmental organizations. They come into the picture, they collect, and they want to help, yes, but at the same time, they want to take advantage. They use this NGO as a platform for politics. This is happening in Asia. I've seen many NGOs, doing this. They come and they collect, and then they start using whatever success they gain through this platform for their own gain, which is, I think, not right. So you move away from the original mission to empower women. I have one good example that I can share. In Indonesia, we have a movement called Muhammadiyah. It is not a religious movement. It started with religion, but the way they bring together is very interesting. And my friends tell me, my PhD students some come from Indonesia. They say the government owes this foundation money. They have schools, they have preschool, hospitals, banks. What else they have? There are 120 higher learning institutions throughout Indonesia. They're very strong. So this institution, they come together, they empower women, empower youth, empower girls, and the institution is thriving, and the government owes them money. That shows that how strong is their financial standing, and their formula is that no politics. No politicians are allowed to interfere. If any one of the members of this foundation, which have millions of members, if they want to join politics, they are requested to leave the foundation because they don't want politics. When you have politics, everything goes haywire. Because you see, politics, they will not invest. They will use us for their investment. They will use the government fund for their own benefits. It's everywhere around the world. I don't know about US, but in Malaysia, in most of the developing countries, politicians use our fund for their own gain and for their own benefits, which is where we lose out. So they will have a fund, women empowerment fund, so many things they talk about, but when it doesn't really reach to the people. There's lots of spillages, wastages, in ceremonies and all the pompous kind of thing, grand. But when it comes to the actual implementation, you have limited budget. So the project is not successful. I always tell my students, I teach property law. 95% of our political masters are Malay Muslims. 90% of top, or even 95% of top leadership are Malay Muslims. So how come Malay rights are not protected? How come Malay, we talk about Malay privileges, everything's guaranteed. But why? Because there's no political will. There is no sincerity. We can see everywhere in Bangladesh, in India, in most of the countries. I'm sure African countries also face the same problem. Yeah? So this is where we are the. I mean, we can say that we are the empowered, empowered community, empowered level of people at every level. We should be coming together and see how we can empower. This must go beyond personal interest, promotion, money making as well. Because when we come together, we have to reach out. In all faith, we believe that we have to help. Giving. The Buddhist says to give. Yeah, the Hindu says to give. The Christian says to give. The Jew, the Muslims. Yeah, in Malaysia we have 6 major religions. And these 6 major religion beliefs, they come together. We converge in our belief that we must share, we must care, and we must give. So I mean, I deal a lot with religious leaders. We come together to brainstorm and come up with ideas, and help community. So in this, I mean, I believe that when we come together, like now, it's just a beginning. Possibly we can come together, we can see how. On my part, I'm quite willing to come up with assist in any way that we can to share experiences and to see how we can help empower. So to me, I believe in action, not just talk and write papers, scientific papers, get grant, and at the end of the journey, nothing happens. Is I get promoted, I get grant, and I get citation. But what is the actual output of this particular research? It must be, we always say must be people centric, and people must be able to benefit from our research, not simply, anyone can do research. If you look at the YouTubes now, my auntie created 100 videos. She's a cancer, she recovered cancer, but she had another. So she said before anything happens, though, she created 100 video, simple cooking with KB, yeah, Khatija B. So this simple videos, and everybody try, and they say we can work it out, we can. So these are the things we want to do, help people. Okay, this is the thing that been successful in Malaysia, try it out, so we want to have simple formula for people to try, simple issues, simple knowledge that people can adopt, and they don't have time. Even we put courses, we don't want long winding courses. We want to have, because the digital world, like we can meet, so we have to give them access to digital communication or access to internet, where they can have access to knowledge base and as well access to reach out. So I believe, you have more to share, so this is what I would like to share in the beginning. Possibly we can come in later and share. Thank you, Sharif, for the opportunity. And
Thank you, Professor Ainul. I have a specific question for you, especially when we develop women entrepreneurship. So, what is your advice for Africa specifically? What kind of like training will be helpful for them? Especially we focus on ICT because information
Mhm.
and communication technology is very important. What is your advice and how actually Malaysia, especially I know that you are a policymaker as well, how Malaysia actually develop policy for women empowerment?
Well, we can talk about IT empowerment. First, we must know whether the technology is available, how strong. Like we talk about, in our country, we talk about IT. And sometimes, when you're doing classes, the student go missing because, oh, the internet is not strong. And, even in campuses, sometimes the internet is not stable. So very important is the investment on the actual technology. We cannot empower people when the technology is not is the service is not strong enough. So they must have strong, what do I say, the access to internet must not be interrupted, uninterrupted access. So the government must be prepared to invest in providing the IT facilities. One, two, the we must find time to reach out. The time they are available, not the time that we are available. This is very crucial, because it's our time, they may not. They have to cook. They have to earn a living, right? They have to take care of the children. So we have to make sure that when we reach out, it shouldn't be long hours. It should be, very convenient. Like in the Amana Itia program, they group up ladies. So the ladies in a group, they support each other. They motivate each other, and they pay the loan without fail. The loan is started, and beyond that they're on the system, because they're supported by the officers in the group. And every week or every fortnight, I think they have meetings, and they explain what's their problem. So accounting is very important. Risk management is like if you have unsold goods, perishable goods, so they must. So just giving them some aid, okay, this is what you do. No, it must be with proper support. The aid must come with proper support. Okay, this is what you do, this is how you keep the accounts, this is how you manage the risk that comes together with all this. And also how to uh, reinvest, or how to keep the money and how to move forward. Not simply whatever you earn. We have a group of people here, we give them something, they just use up and that's it, and they leave the land idle. So this some yeah, there's a lot. We have quite a lot of idle land in Malaysia now. I'm involved in this idle land development project. So we have about 1 billion USD allocated by the government under the Malaysian plan, 12 plan plus budget 2022. So to look how we are more into agropreneur, also empowering women, and developing idle land and reserve land. We have land reserve for the Malay community, land reserve for the customary and natives. Yeah, so we have quite a lot of reserve land. So we want to look at how to use this reserve land, which has restriction. Customary title comes with restriction. So how to go beyond this restriction, and how to empower and become food producer. We have a lot of agricultural land that's abandoned. So we would like. So this is where you can learn from us. Funding is very important. Then access to internet, and also knowledge base. We must give them proper knowledge. Just 1 minute, yeah, Sharif. I can quote one example of the Thai King's project. The King of Thai, King Bhumipol, the late King Bhumipol, started this project in the late 50s with the Chiang Mai University. I visited the project in Chiang Mai, where there were a group of natives who were not, doing useful thing. What they were doing, they were planting, some ganja, we call this, some heroin plant, whatever. So they were abusive and problematic. So what the king did, when the king went up, everybody, they respect the king. King with the university professors, they did research and they came up. And now this particular area, Chiang Mai, it is one of the global producer for temperate climate vegetable. The juices, maybe you're eating this in your country, Europe. Yeah, they send to Europe, and they have fruits. and they have much better quality life now. No more alcohol or whatever, and the place is like it is a hill resort for tourism as well. See, because the king went up, they have research and development, marketing, promotion. They also have support system, and it liberated these people in this border. Actually, Chiang Mai is the border between Thai and Burma, Myanmar. So it's a very good case study, which we are also now quoting in Malaysia. So there are many good case studies even in Africa, in Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal. So we can compile most of these case studies, make it as a motivating factor. I think what the ladies need is this motivation, saying that if the other woman can do it, we can do it. Yeah. Okay, Sharif.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Sharif.
you, Professor. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor, for joining today. Now I request Professor Dr. Soha Akiki. She is President and Founder, Paris Graduate School Innovation Knowledge Institute. So, Professor Dr. Soha Akiki, can you unmute, please? Professor, can you unmute, please? Dr. Soha. Dr. Soha, can you unmute, please?
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry,
Thank
sorry,
you.
sorry.
No problem.
Okay, so let me start again. So hello everybody. So I am Dr. Suha Akiki, President and founder of Innovative Knowledge Institute, Paris Graduate School. I created this school in 2013 because I have been in education for the past many years, 30 years, and I was really close to the students, and I heard them, I listened to them, and I understood their needs. And the aim of an educator is to see their students advancing. And so this school was really created for in the aim to change a little bit the different methods of education. Because when you are in front of the students in class and you see that they lose sometimes attention, it creates a bit of stress for the teachers and for the students. So we try to make the most of it to have our students really happy and motivated. That's the most important. That being said, I did some research in the past, and I want to point out I am a woman, of course. I am for the women cause, that's for sure. But it doesn't mean that we have to give up competency and merit, which means what I want to say that if I have in front of me a man and a woman, and if the man is more competent, the man will be chosen, and if otherwise, vice versa, will be the women will be chosen. But I want to point out that the discrimination, positive discrimination that we want to give a positive point for the women, that was a good takeoff. It's a takeoff to show that the woman has his own space in this society. That's very important. But it doesn't mean that we have systematically, we choose a woman. No, I would be hurt if someone told me, we chose you because you're a woman. No, I want everybody to choose me because I am competent. That's first. But I am with for the women cause. I am. It's a takeoff to show that woman has its own place, her own place in this society, and nobody should say that a woman is inferior or whatever. We are all human beings. We are all the same, and we think maybe sometimes differently, but we are all human beings, and we have all of us logic. We have all of us a way to analyze. We have to think that everybody should have his place in this world. That's it. Now, talking about economy and women entrepreneurship and economic growth. So, women entrepreneurship in the economic development of a country is a fact. Although in the past decade, I did some research in between 1995 and 2005. The results, sorry, the results that hasn't shown the entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship hasn't shown really significant effect on economy per se. But it doesn't mean this is, I'm talking about 1995. Huh? However, it had an indirect impact on job creation. It had a positive impact on income distribution, because when we have a couple, they work, both of us, in a household, the income will be higher. So, which means we had less poverty. So that's a point we have to. At the beginning, they were not showing that women had a positive impact on the economic growth, but you will see that now there will be a big difference. Now, in the past, when we were talking about entrepreneurs, we had in our mind that the man with his business suit and his briefcase and running, very motivated. Also, now we will see a woman with her business suit, with her skirt, whatever you want, her briefcase, and running as well, because it's very important that to give an eye on what's happening nowadays. I've been to Nigeria a few years ago, and I met only women entrepreneurs in Lagos and in Abuja. I went to, I visited the Mali in Africa, the same. Very motivated, they take position, they very, very important. But now I'm taking the example of India. India, in 2010, we had like how like about 8% of the job creation, thanks to the women entrepreneurs. Now, if we look now and forecast to 2030, we will have 25% of job creation thanks to women entrepreneurs. You see the difference? I'm talking only about only India. Why I took India? Because between India and China, we have one third of the world population, and this is a very important example as an emergent country. India, maybe it's more than emergent now. So it's important to see how the economic growth, uh, thanks to the women entrepreneurs, is is uh, uh, is working better and better, and we have to give a chance and an opportunity to the women to prove themselves, because they are more than willing and more than competent to do so. So that's it.
Thank
Question.
you. Thank you, Professor Dr. Soha. I want to take a question from audience. Uh, what is the role of technology in making women be successful entrepreneurs?
It will be the same as to men. Technology is technology for men or for a woman, no? Where will be the difference, really?
No, I believe that we need to educate more women, especially we have to encourage them for STEM education.
Mm.
I did some research even in Malaysia for class ceiling factors. Even from the developing nations, and we are observing women are not involved in STEM education, science, technology, engineering education. That's why they are not playing a really leading role in the organization, especially in the corporation. Glass ceiling is a major challenge. That's why we are providing solution to collated lab Rwanda, that how we can empower women and how we can motivate them for STM education. So thank you,
Mhm.
Dr. Soha, for your excellent presentations. Now I want to request Madam Betlab. I know about her family situation. That is the strength of women. Even Dr. Soha Kiki, in previous time I saw in your country when Lebanon has challenged you, you take these challenges and you support your country. Dr. Ainul Zaria, she has even physical problem. she joined. Madam Betlav, she has family issues. I know. I'm sorry about your father. Still, she joined. That is the spirit of women. We always find inside the organization, women take lot of responsibilities. Women always care about family and the organizations. Even as a leaders, even in the COVID-19 situation, we are observing how New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda and other women prime ministers playing roles for their country. So that is the spirit that we are contributing for women entrepreneurships. Madam Betlav, like what you want to share, I know I can understand your pain. Yes, but thank you for joining today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sharif. I really appreciate you having me on the show as always. And, it may be that if you spotlight me, my graphics will show up better because I have on screen graphics today. So in 2019, I founded Eat for the Earth, which is an organization that makes it easier for people to eat more plants and less animal products to sustain all life on Earth. I founded the organization because I was concerned about diet related contributions to the myriad environmental crises brought on by human activities. And as most people around the world know, one big crisis, the climate crisis, is causing an exponential increase in deadly floods and wildfires, hurricanes, droughts, melting of icebergs and glaciers, and so much more. And as a result of this crisis, the people of the world are experiencing catastrophic loss of life, livelihood, homes, health. We may have only 7 or 8 more years to take effective action to avert the very real probability that our Earth will be rendered uninhabitable for humans and many other life forms. And the climate crisis is only one of several planetary boundaries that we've already transgressed through our activities. We've also left the safe zone in terms of how we use the land use change. And nitrogen and phosphorus pollution is another huge problem, infiltrating the soils and getting into the waterways, ultimately making their ways to the ocean and creating these vast swaths of ocean dead zones. But perhaps the biggest environmental threat of all is the biodiversity crisis. Um, are my graphics showing? Okay. So globally, we're losing species at a rate of 10 to hundreds of times as high as the average rate over 10 million years. Since 1970, humans have wiped out about 68% of the wild mammals, fish, birds, reptiles, and amphibians, and 1 million species are currently threatened with extinction. So why should I focus on food, or why should an organization or people care about food? Because current diets are major contributors to each of these environmental crises and many other environmental problems. And it's not all foods, though. Current dietary patterns that are high in meat, such as consumed in my country, the US, other developed nations, and sadly, increasingly in the developing world, they're responsible for environmental destruction on a massive scale. If human dietary patterns don't shift, in fact, even reductions of fossil fuel emissions to zero will not prevent global warming from exceeding acceptable limits. And similarly, human diets are also the responsible for pushing us beyond the safe zones in several of the other planetary boundaries that I mentioned, resulting in mass extinctions and ocean dead zones and other catastrophic damage. Whole plant foods, on the other hand, have a much lighter footprint on the earth in terms of land and water use, pollution, contribution to the climate crisis, biodiversity loss, and so much more. And it turns out that the same diets that are destroying the biosphere are also wreaking havoc with human health. Diets high in plant foods reduce the risk of deadly chronic diseases such as heart disease, stroke, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and many cancers. And recent studies have even shown that people on plant based diets have a greatly reduced risk, both of the incidence and severity of COVID. Um, so now I want to turn to some of the internet communication tools that we in our organization have used to grow a movement, to catalyze action, to educate people about the issues, and to generate support for the continued habitation of the earth. Eat for the Earth only got its start in 2019, and we just got our our nonprofit status this year in June. Yet in a short period of time, we've made a big impact in our local area and also nurtured a growing community of activists worldwide and grown our sphere of influence tremendously. And we're still small though, and we have a very limited budget. So we've relied on tools both for internet communications and also for other purposes that are free and low cost. We're not buying anything very expensive in the way of technological tools to support our work. Even before the pandemic, when we were doing most of our work here locally in Santa Cruz, California, in person, we utilized numerous ICTs or internet communication technologies to help us grow the movement. For instance, we used a free email marketing tool and free social media accounts, regular email, and many tools that were given to us pro bono, actually. But once the pandemic nudged us and the rest of the world online through COVID restrictions, this is us in a little a webinar that we were having with Dr. Neil Barnard. Our reliance on ICT grew tremendously. We continued with the tools we've used, and we also added a number of additional techniques. So I don't know where I am in my slides. Here we go. I do want to give the caveat that I'm not recommending organizations or businesses use any particular software. Every organization really has to go through the process of deciding what their needs are and finding the tools that work best for them. But I will share some tools that have been really helpful for me personally in my work and also for E for the Earth. So one, if you're an NGO or nonprofit corporation, one organization that's really great for NGOs to know about is TechSoup if they don't already. TechSoup develops relationships with providers of hardware, software, and technology services and secures donations that they then pass on to the nonprofits for a very minimal administrative fee. As an example, E for the Earth earlier this year paid only $68 for a full year subscription of a product that would have cost hundreds of dollars had we paid the full cost. There's a number of free and low-cost email marketing tools, which almost any organization or business is going to want to have email marketing tools. And, whether woman-led or man-led or somebody of a non-binary gender, but Constant Contact and MailChimp are a couple. They let you create and send emails to your entire list or a segment that you define. E for the Earth uses MailChimp, and the free version has worked really well for our needs. We're not quite up to the 2,000 subscribers where we'll have to pay. And some organizations actually use these to manage their constituent relationships or for CRMs, constituent relationship management software. But if you can afford a real CRM, that's really a great tool to have. And there's a number of low-cost constituent relationship management tools out there, and also a few free ones. It's really important to think through what kind of data you want to collect and how you're going to use that data in determining what product will work for you. And a great website, I'm putting the logos up of the companies, a great website that can really help you determine which tool would work for you, whether it's a CRM or another tool, is Capterra. And I'm going to give a list, I'll paste in the comments a list of links to these tools that I'm sharing. So Capterra lets you compare different softwares and make a good decision for yourself. E for the Earth uses little green light for our CRM. It has very robust donation management features, which is super important to us. It's not very great at project management, but we've managed to do some workarounds, which are always possible. And then that is the product that I mentioned that we got through TechSoup donation. It was only $68 for the year. Another low-cost CRM that works well for businesses, small businesses, but can also be adapted for NGOs that don't have to track donations, is called Capsule. And through the feature called Cases on Capsule, organizations can do simple project management. Trello is a very fun and very flexible tool. It can be used for collaboration, for project management, for events, communications, and more. Users create boards that have lists of cards, and each card has, whatever you want to put on it, practically unlimitless uses. Video conferencing tools are also crucial in these times when, even if we might be starting to do in-person things again, we're still online. We live in a world community, and the problems that we face belong to the world. So we need to connect beyond our local areas. And you can use free tools like Skype or Google Hangouts. E for the Earth uses Zoom. We pay for a subscription. It's one of our largest subscriptions, $16 a month, but it's well worth it because it allows us to have the features we need. There is a free version. The tool I'm using right now is called Prezi Video. I find that a lot of people have Zoom fatigue, and that watching a screen full of graphics with a little tiny person over on the side, you can't really emote through that very small window very well. And Prezi Video lets you take the graphics off the screen or have them on the screen with you or have them take up the whole screen. And you can very easily toggle between the different modes. Um, so I think it's a really great tool, and you're just seeing a portion of what it can do. And there's many additional tools that can be helpful to organizations. A few include, platforms for creating community like Facebook and Meetup, or collaboration tools like Slack and Google Drive. Crowdsourcing tools, Kickstarter and GoFundMe are examples, or payment processing tools, websites, etc. Each organization will benefit from thinking really carefully about their mission and what they're trying to do, and what kind of tools, hardware and software they need. And also think about what can they access in terms of the affordability, the cost, the internet access that they have, and the hardware that they have access to. So I'm just going to leave you with two tips. Just on a technical note, it's really critical to reduce duplication of effort, especially if you're in a small NGO like we are, or a small business. You don't want to be doing a whole bunch of double entry. So if you're a large organization and you have a large budget, you can purchase, and you have staff to configure and maintain maybe a comprehensive tool that can incorporate lots of features that I've been talking about, video conferencing maybe even, and certainly bookkeeping and constituent relationship management and project management and all these different tools. You can buy one cohesive system that includes them all. But for smaller NGOs and businesses working with a more limited budget, organizations might need to make use of simpler, free and low cost tools such as we've used that not only that may only fulfill one of these functions, not several. And so finding tools that integrate with each other saves a lot of time and energy to devote to your mission. E for the Earth has found that we have a combination of a number of free and low cost tools that actually talk with each other and share data, so that we can integrate our marketing, our payment processing, donor management, constituent relationship management, task management, event management, and so much more. And then finally, my other tip is really a mindset tip. It's crucial for organizations to keep their missions foremost in their minds. And this is perhaps even, never mind. I was going to make a remark about women. I'll come back to it. It's important that we nurture a sense of unstoppability within our organizations and on our teams, so that even if we don't have the kinds of ICT that we would like, because they're outside of our current capacity to afford or to use because of the situation we're in, we still have an absolute knowing within. We have no doubt that we can fulfill our mission and make a difference in the world. And I think, women have been really good with this over the centuries, and some men as well. But just being resilient and being powerful and being agents of change, regardless of the material stuff that we might be able to have. And so I'm going to leave you with just with the encouragement to get out there and do what it is that you're called to do, because the world needs you to do it. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Madam Betlab. I have only one question, because your organization focus on food productions, which is very important. I'm just sharing my research and my experience from developing world. In the developing nation, example, country like Bangladesh or India, women has very good economical contribution, especially food production, agricultures, household work. These are the things women economically contribute. But in the global arena, like we set a standard for GDP, gross development productions, and this GDP never count women contribution in food production, women contribution in household work, and that's why in the developing worlds their contribution never counted. So as your organization focusing on food productions, and your organization Eat for the Earth, so how you measure these things, how you want to contribute this challenging area, how you want to motivate different global organizations that they should count women contribution in economy.
Thank you. That's such an excellent question, Sharif. And I'm going to answer it maybe a little differently than what you're expecting. Um, E for the Earth's contribution to this question of GDP and what counts is to say that we need to upend the current systems, because the current systems are not organized in a way that supports all life on Earth, that supports all people in thriving, or that supports the intact, us having an intact biosphere. The current systems, which rely on GDP and other measures of economic growth, count on economic growth to be able to appear healthy. But nothing's healthy. Nobody's healthy. The populations of the world, we have masses of people starving. We have people losing their homes. We have flooding. We have wildfires. We have the planet is the biosphere systems are out of control, in trouble. And so we need to orient around a different model, not around GDP, not around economic growth. And Kate Haworth is an economist who's written an excellent book called Donut Economics. And Eat for the Earth promotes a system of economics that is based on how can we live within the confines of our planet, within the boundaries, the safe boundaries of our planet, a planet that's thriving, while simultaneously ensuring that all of the population of the Earth thrives. And for Kate Haworth, that's all of the human population. But for Eat for the Earth, that's all of the life on Earth. How can we live on this Earth in a way that respects the boundaries of the Earth and that all life is thriving? And that's the economy that we're working for. And it is possible, but it doesn't include unlimited growth. It is not consistent with unlimited growth. So our contribution is that all people are valued and all life is valued, and that all life and all people need to be respected, need to have their basic needs met, and more. It's not just enough for people to just have food and shelter and healthcare. People must all be thriving. Life must all be thriving on this earth. That's our bottom line, and that's what we work toward. And Sharif, I think you froze. Oh, he froze. Okay. Yeah, so I'm curious if any other panelists, while we're waiting for him to come back, if any other panelists have ideas about this economic proposal that I've just made.
Hi, how you doing, Beth? How are you? My name is Jennifer. I'm very interested in what you were just discussing, actually, because I volunteer with an organization called the Venus Project, and they are also very focused around providing quality of life for everybody on the planet and restoring the planet. So I think that it's wonderful that your organization has those principles also, because, I mean, really, at this point, why are we not doing that? Why are we not focusing all of our goals around taking care of, everyone and the planet that we all share? At this point, we know better now to do this kind of thing. So yeah, so thank you for that. I'm very interested in your organization and your proposals.
Wonderful. Be sure and look up Kate Haworth's work. It's really very inspiring.
Okay.
She doesn't have the science all right on my issue, but her work is very inspiring.
Can you spell the last name for me?
I believe it's HAWO. Oh, I think it's Raworth. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Hi everybody. I'm sorry I'm late to the party, but the time change, I was told it was 7 a.m. my time, and it was actually 6 a.m. my time. So here I am. Anyway, I'm sorry to be late. But I'm here.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Now I request Madam Dulcie.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I would like to start by saying this is a really good discussion to have globally, and the fact that we have so many people from all over the world on this panel discussing these issues with women in entrepreneurship and IT is a really, really awesome that this has been organized and that we're doing this and we're having this discussion here. I'd like to uh, echo something that the first speaker mentioned about empowering people and empowering our community, and the idea that men and women are separate from each other in technology is a complete fallacy, and it should be thrown away because we're not separate from each other. We're all together in this as one human race. And if we're building technology, we have to build technology in a way that supports all of us and gives all of us the ability to have agency over our experiences that we have with technology, and give us the ability to wield that technology in ways that support our families and support our communities and support our businesses. And so separating men and women is really, it's been very detrimental in business, I think, over the years. I think we should be teams and partners in this, right? And I live in California, so it's very progressive here with the thoughts of being gender. What is your gender, right? So it's kind of the playing field is kind of flattened a little bit in a lot of ways, right? And I'm very supportive of everybody, and I'm about lifting everybody up, no matter who they are, what their level of talent is. It's about empowering and giving people that support. um, oh, we lost two of our speakers, huh? I hope they come
I
back.
think internet issue, they will join.
Yes. Okay. So believing in empowering everybody and pulling everybody up is very important. And I would like to also say that part of where we stand now in technology, we're kind of at the precipice of like a no no return, right? We're standing at the edge of a no return situation. If we really dive deep into what a lot of the big businesses want us to do, as far as how they want us to move and participate in their services that they're providing for us, we could really fall down a funnel of dystopia, right? And I believe that we are right now at a point where we can really empower as many people as possible, and provide many tools as possible to help fragment and decentralize a lot of what's going on in technology. Because you've got the big giants coming in, and they're throwing nets over large portions of the planet, providing services and such, right? I know IT is an issue, and connectivity is an issue in certain parts of the world, right? And you've got Googles and Facebooks and Apples going in there, and they're like dropping barges with data farms on there, and or satellites that are specifically targeted for that region to provide services for them. But it's being funneled through that business, it's being funneled through that service, right? So um, I believe in empowering everybody on a level where they can have agency over how they interact with those services. One interesting example I like to give is, Detroit, our motor city, completely fell into disarray in the 90s. And it was so bad that they filed for bankruptcy. And as they're filing for bankruptcy, Google is laying all the fiber lines and pipe all across the United States. But because Detroit's broke, they don't put any in Detroit at all, right? So Detroit has no high-end internet connectivity going on in there, right? So you now have a generation of Gen Z kids who want to play Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto, and they want to play it on their consoles, and they want to play with each other, and the only way to do that is to be online and play with each other. So a lot of philanthropic ISPs companies like Monkey Brains, which is very big in the Bay Area, went into Detroit and provided mesh network kits for kids in the neighborhoods who requested them, and taught them how to set these mesh networks up onto their roofs to provide services to their neighbors. So now these kids can all get online and play video games with each other, but it also empowered them on how to set up these mesh networks. If it goes down, if one node goes down, they know how to fix it. They know how to add new nodes into the system. They understand how to connect it to the main hub that's across town. Like kids are getting an education in networking on a grassroots level, which I think is very empowering. And that's the kind of thing that really inspires me and makes me want to be a technologist and makes me want to be a part of this moving forward into the future. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the projects that I'm currently working on. And one main project that I'm working on is for a company called Perception Grid. And we're building an infrastructure layer for immersive stacks. Now, when I say immersive stacks, I mean companies like Facebook, companies like Apple and Google and Microsoft and other smaller companies like Magic Leap. They are making these technology stacks that are complete lifestyle stacks that encompass everything about you, your entire life, right? And it's in these stacks, they are taking information out of there to serve up contextually to you when you want it. So, Facebook, for instance, is setting it up where through their Oculus headset, they have a stack where they're taking data from your biometric data, from your eyes, from your mouth, what you're saying, how you're engaging in their headset, and they're using that information to serve up better events to you, better engagements, better friends, better ads, whatever it is that they want to do, they're taking that information and they're using it to serve up contextually to you. So I don't agree 100% with the way Facebook is approaching that, but that is the future of technology. Everything about you is going to be quantified and measured, and data is going to be stored. Now, how that information is shared and what information goes out there, in a lot of ways, you're not in control of when you are on Google, Facebook, Apple, right? My company is looking to provide solutions to other companies to make their own stacks, their own versions of these, and funnel people in their users and their people into those stacks. So our layer in this stack is to provide content in real time that's contextual, and it's all kinds of media, and it brings this media in from everywhere. It aggregates it from everywhere, and it uses what we call a knowledge graph, which is machine learning. And we train this knowledge graph to understand different hashtags and keywords, and then pulls this content in and and displays it for you contextually. And it can be any kind of content. It could be 3D models, videos, images, text, voice, uh, whatever it is, even real-time video for real-time live collaboration in a video setting with somebody. So it's got a lot of utilitarian use cases. It could be used for practically any business who's looking to take their company and bring it into a spatialized space, into an immersive space. It also works on legacy data and legacy assets. So if you have a large repository of assets or a large database of data that's even unrefined data, our knowledge graph will take that data and refine it, parse it out, ingest it, figure out what it means, what it's saying, and then turn it into something that's contextual for what you need, that's real time on the fly. So that's Perception Grid. And then I'm working for a company, my main company, Emmerspace, and we create immersive spaces for people. So we started out the project, I'm going to share my screen right now. We started out the project building hold on.
And one thing I just want to help you. We are discussing on ICT for women enterprise.
Yes,
We want relations like how your organizations or your initiative actually helpful for African women.
yes. So I will show you that right now. So um, okay, I'm going to share this screen. I don't know, can you see this? It says Perception Grid. But I'm going to show
Yes.
you So we create immersive spaces, and this is a website. So this is how I'm showing you how we can empower women, right? If you are a web developer and you know how to build web pages, you could create your own immersive space on the web. So along with my team, we've made an immersive chess room. Um, and this is all a web base, and you can jump in here with I don't know if I can do Emmer's login. You can jump in here with a headset or mobile device. It can be on the desktop, um, and it also can be on an iPad. Um, Let me join the room. So you see, it says there I can join in with a headset. But this is all an immersive VR space that is in the web. Let me navigate around. So this is a chessboard. I actually have live chess pieces in here that I can engage with. This is all, I'm going to play the white keys. Here they are. I'm like super big and giant now. My avatar is in the space. It's a very social space. So this is all web-based, and this is all JavaScript. So the empowering aspect of showing you this is to show that, yeah, Facebook is talking about the metaverse. Facebook is mentioning how they want to transport everybody into these virtual spaces, and people feel like they have to use those tools to get into these spaces. This is evidence that you don't need tools like Facebook to create your own metaversal space. And it is my own domain. This is my domain name. Um, Another thing I'd like to show you about empowering women are the women that do make amazing things in technology and how they have become very famous online by creating things. So this is my friend Paige Piskin, and she is a filter maker. She makes face filters, and some of these are. This filter right here is an example of a filter that she's created with influencer who wears her filter. She has the CEO of Snap, and his wife, Miranda Kerr, is using her filter.
Ma'am, can I help you, please? Because our audience more want to know how your organization can help women empowerment. I'm sorry,
Okay,
we just want to know from women entrepreneurships, women empowerment. We want to, because we are more on policy development, training and development with Rwanda. We have a
great.
strong commitment to the Rwanda government. So yes, your organization is very helpful, very dynamic. But I want to request all of our speakers. Thank you, Madam Dalsi, for your presentation. We have to, because we are developing some national policy, we are developing training program, we are help the national economy for Rwanda. So I request all of our speaker, please focus on the topic and focus on the contribution. Thank you, Madam Dalsi, for your excellent presentation. Uh, Excellent presentation. I'm sorry, because time constraint, I have to focus on topic as well,
Okay.
because it's heavily promoted in media, and we have a strong commitment with government. I respect everyone. I want to request. Uh, uh, I Just a moment, because thank you. We have our honorable speakers from Exceptional Women Awareness Foundation, Larin Segil, Chairman and CEO. I request for her presentation.
Hello, thank you so much. And again, my apologies for being late with the time change. I thought it was 7 a.m., not 6 a.m. And so I was a little late. But anyway, I'm delighted to be here. On the research that I've done, Rwandan women have been enormously successful in a number of ways. Certainly after the genocide, they became 60% of the workforce. And the Rwandan government has more than 60% of their seats held by women. So I think we have a lot to learn from Rwandan women in many ways in the areas of leadership. But the area I'd like to contribute is how I came to set up the nonprofit foundation that I'm chairman and CEO of. And I think the best way to do that is to let me tell you a little bit about my story. I am an immigrant from Africa, actually, myself. I came from South Africa 47 years ago, and Dulce, I'm also in California. I'm in Los Angeles. And coming as an immigrant to America was a pretty overwhelming experience for those of you who have had that experience. An amazing one, but also a little overwhelming, with no school friends, no university friends. I went to law school here and also to business school, and I practiced law for a while and then became an entrepreneur. But it was hard building those networks. And I always thought to myself how wonderful it would be if I had a mentor, if I had a role model. And at that time in South Africa, when I was studying to be a barrister, there were 3 women in my law school class of 180. And in America, there were about 20%. Of course, now it's very different. But it was hard for a woman to become a professional and to succeed. So I kept thinking to myself, if I ever make it in this incredible country, I want to come back and help women like me become more successful. Women who I would call are those who walk the road less traveled, which is really what many of you on this speakers panel have done, has taken the way less traveled than others. And so fast forward, I became an entrepreneur. I had a number of
Madam, I cannot hear you. Ma'am, if you have a problem, I want to give you chance second time. But before that, I want to give chance Madam Manu. I think she run a coding academy in Rwanda. So we want to learn more about Rwanda because we love to contribute for your developments. Our major objective, economical enhancement of women in Rwanda. So yes.
First of all, I'm not in Rwanda. I'm in Lesotho, Africa.
Okay, okay.
Yes, I am Manu Mapaisa, like you said. I have founded a girls coding academy here in Lesotho. This idea came about my situation as a girl. I'm from a rural area, but now my business into the capital city of Lesotho. So in my rural area, there were no computers, no IT course, nothing at all. But I wanted to study computer science or be in a tech space. So I passed well my high school and primary. Then tertiary came, where I was going to study computer science. It was my first time to touch a computer, my first time to type and do everything. But some students were privileged and they came from private schools. But there are a few schools here in Lesotho who have teach IT courses. The other problem that I encountered, we were few in class as girls. So it was a struggle for me. So in that case, I didn't want any other girl to experience what I've gone through. So that is when I started advocating for girls to participate in STEM programs, IT, and I walked around schools here in my country teaching coding for free. So when I was teaching coding for free, girls were reserved. When you train them, you say, let's say 1 plus 1, you tell them it's 2. They were going to write 1 plus 1 is 2. But boys would go for 3 plus 4 is 5, 6 plus 7. So they would go beyond on what we have already taught them. So with that, I found it challenging as well because we are taught how to respect, clean the house, watch for the family, cook, do that. But for us to be innovative, to explore new things, to just be you in an environment of boys and girls and be independent and do so. We were told from young age to be reserved. So normally boys are allowed to work at night, they don't come late, they're allowed to go to certain events, we are not allowed. So there were a lot of restrictions on our side. So in 2017 when I started, there were few companies and few girls or parents willing to help me to advocate for this program to see it through. But in 2019, I saw a few people coming, and 2020 it was good, but we encountered COVID-19. Now in 2021, we have support from Microsoft, from Google, and other Vodacom in Lesotho, other big companies here in Lesotho. They are now helping to advocate for girls to learn coding and other tech programs. But the thing is, the challenge, most of the companies now, we women, we copy each other, they copy each other. They are not innovative. We are still lacking the innovative part. But I still believe that we'll get there someday and work hard. And I'm glad that I've learned a lot from the beautiful and smart ladies today. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to know because you have a code academy. And for today's topic, we are focusing on ICT for women entrepreneurship. Even we have many tech gen like Dulcie. She is very expert in ICT, information and communication technology. Like, what is the situation right now? Like, how many women actually involved with your academy and they are getting training? How you getting support from your government or local organization?
Okay, I think I was the only organization. I saw the other organizations starting, I think, few days back. The support from the government is good. I heard they support my events, but not my daily programs. I have to pay my rent. I have to see to it that I have computers at my center or the equipment. So the only support during the events. And as for Vodacom, they also support during events, but sometimes when I ask for something, they do support me, but between the certain contract that we may have. And I also have UNDP. UNDP is willing to support my program entirely, but we just signed a contract, I think it's 2 months now with UNDP. Ministry of Youth, they are willing to support me, but we haven't started yet, and I think in the future it will be good. The only thing that I think that we have here, now that I have started the academy, I saw some people copying the same thing, doing the same thing that I'm doing, not doing something different, innovative. Now that I've shown them that this can work, they're not going to another level and do something bigger. I still think we still have to have events here in Lesotho where we can teach women that they can do better, they can be innovative, they can try something new that are there outside the country that we don't have here in the country, or solve several problems, so that we as women, we don't focus on just only one problem, but we can beat several problems at the same time. I think that is what we are challenging, but I think it's going to be solved soon.
Thank you. Madam Dulcie, can you help
Thank
me?
you.
Thank you. Madam Dulcie. Yes, let's say this woman has, not let's say she has practically an academy, code academy. How from like a Silicon Valley company can help her to develop more coder, more programmer, like women programmer in Africa? What is
Well,
your
so
advice?
there are definitely tools that she could tap into. So there are courses like Coursera and Udemy and quite a few other course material that you can find that give you weeks of time to learn a codec or to learn a platform or to learn some kind of scripting language. Um, so that's one way. I personally taught myself by myself. I didn't pay anybody to teach me. I went to school for 3D animation, but ended up building web pages. And nobody was building web pages at the time. This was back in the 90s. Taught myself JavaScript, PHP, a little bit of Ruby. I've been self-taught all my career, like 30 years on. And the best resources that I can say is Google, places like GitHub, Stack Overflow, and other repositories that have code snippets. So if you have a challenge, like if you're trying to make an app that solves a problem in your neighborhood, there are many different types of flow software out there that you can use to flow out what this app will do, and then you can take that into different tools and actually build it out. And some of the tools that I use to build apps are like Unity and Unreal Engine, or Apple's Xcode, or Android's whole suite for developing. You can make apps pretty easy in those programs. But you really have to, somebody said women like to solve the problems and to get together and figure out what these problems are and come up with solutions. I think that's the best way for you to learn is, you have your problem, you need to figure out a solution. What are the tools that do I need to figure out the solution? And then lay that out and then go find those tools. You may have a lot of trial and error while you're doing it and you're trying to figure it out. You may have to reach out to people to ask them questions. I definitely have built myself a team, a roster of developer team that I work with over the years, and of many friends, male and female, that I can rely on if I have questions or roadblocks, and they can help me out to solve my problems. And then I'm always learning, so you never stop learning. But there are tons of resources online. And like I said, you don't have to pay at all. You just have to have tenacity, and you have to have the understanding of the problem that you're trying to solve. And then you can figure it out.
Thank you for your excellent solution. That is the things we are exactly looking from you, because you are from Silicon Valley, your experience, and I know you are self-made entrepreneur, so your experience will be very valuable for the developing nations. Madam Larry, can you hear me? Can you share? Okay. I'm sorry about that. In that situations, I want to give a floor to Professor Donald. She is also our Board of Advisor, World Talent Economy Forum. He's always support World Talent Economy Forums. Thank you for all of your support. Yes.
What a wonderful group of people. I'm kind of the odd man out here, but hopefully I'll have something to offer. Yes, I want to see if I can share my screen here real quickly, and let's see if I can do this. I'll just leave it right here. I just want to talk about something a little bit more general, which is innovation. And at Stanford, I was part of the Silicon Valley Network Analysis Project, which was actually in the sociology department. And I really want to echo what's been said. I was a software engineer for 25 years, and everything I did was self-taught. I got into the level of systems programming, where I was working on Unix system at the system level, writing device drivers and doing things like that. And I completely taught myself, and there wasn't Udemy in those days. I'm trying to figure out how to shut off my screen sharing, but regardless, the two people that are in the picture right there are, I hope, are inspirational. The one on the left is Grace Hopper, who tried to join the military, but they wouldn't let her because she was too old. But she joined the reserves first, and then wrote one of the first compilers for COBOL language, developed the COBOL language. And she was so accomplished, she eventually became a rear admiral. The one on the right was one of the most famous movie stars of the black and white era, Hedy Lamarr. And she was also a brilliant mathematician and engineer who developed frequency hopping to try and protect torpedoes from German interference in the radio. And that became the basis to CDMA, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi. And she was very accomplished. And so people can live two careers and become and actually change the world. And there are two examples of people that did that. Innovation has two parts. I want to see if I can get my face back. You can't. Can you see my face? No, you can't, can you?
Yes.
You can see my face? Okay. So innovation is basically two things. One of them is I get these pop-ups that drive me crazy. Okay, one of them is novelty, and the other one is value. Just because something is new doesn't mean it has any value. I have a friend who was an engineer, and he had this idea that he was going to make a flashing lights that were actually random instead of pseudo-random. And he had enough money that he produced 1,000 of these flashing light things that were random instead of pseudo-random. Now, why would anybody care? I mean, they're just flashing lights, right? And so he has 1,000 pseudo-random flashing lights in his garage, which he hopes to give away at Burning Man someday. But would you really call that innovation? What I want to go to is that novelty isn't necessarily novel. The science fiction writer William Gibson once made the comment that the future is already here, it just isn't evenly distributed. And there is an interesting organization called Innocentive that had engineers sign up to this pool, and companies would pay a fairly large fee, $25,000, $50,000, for solutions to problems that they had. And they would send it out to this group of engineers, and the engineers would submit problems. And sometimes what would happen is they'd see this problem and they just walk over, pull a binder off the shelf, put it in the copying machine and send it to them and get $25,000 because somebody already had a solution to that problem. They were solved. And I heard a talk at Stanford once, which was fascinating. The less close to what they were, in other words, the more different of a organization, or like, in other words, more, if it was an IT problem, it was more likely that it was going to be solved by a chemical company. The more different that it was, the more likely that it was going to be solved. So that's a really interesting thing about innovation, is that it isn't just stuff that pops into people's head. What it is it's taking stuff from one place and bringing it to another. And what does that have to do with entrepreneurship? Well, one of the things that makes Silicon Valley so successful is that it's got people from everywhere. And it's got people from all kinds of backgrounds, people who went to the best prep schools and the best universities, and people who are self-taught programmers that came from, I was a linguistics major, which is a humanities major. People from all kinds of backgrounds that get together and figure out solutions to problems, which is what it all boils down to. And if you want to teach yourself something, look around for a problem and try and figure out how to solve it. Write a program to solve that problem. And that's the way that it'll work. Now I'm going to try and share my screen and show you something. Let's see if this works. I'm going to show you why this works. Imagine, can you see this? Can you see my screen?
No.
Okay.
We haven't seen your
Oh,
screen the whole time, Donald. It was just your
Yes.
face.
Yes. I
oh,
think you just finish your presentation. No problem.
well, part of my presentation, if I could possibly do it, would be to show you the screen. But I'll say it in words. It's too bad because it's a very good uh, slides. But anyway, took me many days to make. But anyway, basically we're organized into groups. And what happens is, if you think about your life, you've got groups of people that you're strongly connected to. You have your family, you have the people that you work with, and each of these groups of people may not know the other people. So groups of people like as I was talking about, that are chemical engineers, work together and they know each other and they know the same things. I have a friend, Mark Rana at Stanford, that wrote a paper that's one of the most cited papers of all, called The Strength of Weak Ties. And it was, what he did was he studied professionals in the Northeast, and he asked them the question, how did you get your job? How did you get your current job? And he found out that most of them would tell him, well, gosh, you know, it's the most strangest thing. I was at a party or a reunion of my college, and I saw this friend that I hadn't seen in years, and I started telling him what I did, and they said, gosh, we really need somebody that does what you do. And we're wondering, gosh, would you work for us? And as he studied it, he found out that very few people got jobs by sending resumes out. And the vast majority of people got jobs exactly like I just said. And that's what he called the strength of weak ties. These weak ties, these basically bridges between these groups of people that don't actually know each other or interact with each other, were the way that people got their jobs. And if you ask yourself the question, why is that? You can think of people come up with psychological reasons, like your friends don't want to help you or blah, blah, blah. But the actual answer is your friends know the same thing you do. If there's a job available, you would know it because you talk to your friends all the time. You already know it. And so when you go into a group that's a different group than yours, then your new information is available. And research has shown the same thing is true with innovation. There's a great study by a guy named David Ostfeld where he looked at the innovations that took place in a Ford factory, and he found that there was the exact same thing. It was people who bridged into these different groups who took solutions that were in one place and applied them to someplace else that were where innovation took place. And where that comes in and makes a point to women entrepreneurs is that everybody needs to work on being able to do that, be able to get outside what you normally do. We think that the most important thing is to focus and to be able to just do, if we work harder at what we do, we'll get better and we'll have more rewards. But the truth is entrepreneurs don't know what they don't know. I work with an incubator, and I have seen so many engineers that are absolutely sure that they've got the best product in the world. And what's happening there is they're missing the part I said about value. Because if you have something that people don't value, it's just weird. It's not valuable. And the only way that you can really understand how something has value is to talk to a lot of people and ask them. And then what happens is your idea, if it has value, you begin to refine it. I talked to this guy named Suhas Patil, who's one of the most respected entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley. He started Cirrus Logic, which invented fabless semiconductor design. And semiconductor factories. And he told me, he said, tell your idea to everyone. He said, every person you meet, tell them your idea. He said, you never know who's going to be able to help you. You might meet them in a laundromat. And when it comes to the thing about men and women, there's a thing that we do is inside of our group, as I said, everyone has the same information. And in order to be able to get new information, you have to get outside of where you are. What happens is that in a place like Silicon Valley or any kind of place, there gets to be a core network of people who all know each other. So the venture capitalists in Silicon Valley kind of are a old boys network that everyone knows each other. And it's very difficult to penetrate into that network. In fact, it's interesting, the word networking was actually invented by feminists in the 80s. The word was invented because women realized that there was an old boys network, and they wanted to find a way to start developing an old girls network so that they could start being able to help each other and pass information around to each other. And so having an old girls network is a smart thing to do. It's a wise thing to do. But innovation, there's a wonderful book called The Fusion of Innovation by Everett Rogers. And in it, he shows that innovation takes place at the periphery. And this is actually something that's very good when you think about Rwanda, because it is the periphery. It's not connected to, it's not constrained by the being part of the network where everybody knows each other. Because when you're in a network where everybody knows each other, people are all watching you. And if you do something different than everyone else, everyone's kind of judging you and kind of making you be the same. So it's more difficult to be innovative. So innovation starts at the edges and moves inward from the edges of the network where the network's less dense and starts moving in towards from the inside to the out. So don't be upset that you're there. And I also want to say, the last thing that I want to say is, when you think of that network, if you can visualize it, a network where in the middle, everything's connected and everybody knows each other. And at the edge, people are less connected. They have a few connections and they're not connected to each other nearly as much. Especially all of us as human beings, and women especially, there's expectations. So the network isn't just your technology network. The network is the network of your family, your friends that define you. Women are supposed to be mothers. They're supposed to be housewives. They're supposed to be all these kinds of things in different cultures. And because of that, you're constrained. It's not a matter of just simply being, you have a role, these roles of expectations. So by getting out to the edges and getting out to the periphery, it's going to be a little bit of discomfort, because you're going to have to be, in the eyes of some people around you, you're going to have to be doing things that aren't exactly the way you're supposed to be, and become somebody that's different than the expectations that perhaps you grew up with. But that's going to make you more innovative. That's going to put you in the different groups. That's going to make the connections that you need to be able to really be innovative and to understand how you can provide value to people outside of your own narrow world. And so I encourage you all to do that. And that's what I'm going to say.
Thank you, Professor Donald. Now I want to request my friend Diana. I want to give her special thanks because in background, I want to share two women contribution for our summit. One is Diana. She did a lot of work with me, and at some point she faced a lot of challenges. And second, I want to give thanks Humaira Tanzila. So both of them actually behind the scene doing a lot of work. So Diana, thank you for your contribution, and all of the speakers, how you contributing for World Talent Economy Forum. This is also very important. Now I request Diana.
Thank you so much, and warm greetings from Rwanda, the country of thousand hills, and the same time, warm greetings from Africa. So, no time we call Africa within like one nation, because we don't need economic recovery toward social economic transformation to focus on one country. We need whole African countries to work together, to unite together, to embrace this economic recovery, particularly women at the forefront. That's why I'm impressed today that we have this topic talking about women in ICT, because in Africa we focus on how woman is a nation. So, for instance, in our country, Rwanda, over 72% of women are in cooperatives in agriculture sector, which they really contribute a lot. To this point, you can't be surprised that also there is a gap between women farmers without yet to embrace technology, which is that gap is really affecting our country economic development, the same as well to the neighbors country, because women can contribute a lot. Nowadays, in our time, is highly competitive, that the women entrepreneurs recognize the importance of technology, that the business development, where finally technology is helping bring ideas to fruitful quickly, because of women understanding when they embrace technology, they really produce a lot. To the woman, where they have a better chance of creating successful products and services for each other, beside ICT might offer learning opportunities not only for each category in our community, but if women are at forefront, it can contribute a lot to our social economic transformation, like learning opportunities, business planning, solution, management capabilities, leadership competence, database tools, as well as business training opportunities. With the help of business plan simulators, ICT can help to develop and enhance communication and social network, as well as information technology, foster innovation in business, research in smarter apps, improve the data storage, foster processing, and wider information distribution. Innovation makes a difference in business, run more efficiently, and innovation increases value, enhance quality, and boost productivity, where entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology aim to connect core models and tools that are already created by well-known and scholars and others in our communities and worldwide, in order to deliver a unique guide for building successful businesses model through the adoption of a new technology and the use of effective innovation, where now we need to empower women so that they can also embrace those tools of technology. First of all, what if in each village, women, they can have maybe one laptop or one smartphone, which can help them to promote even to promote their product, their activities, because most of them in the rural area, they are in agriculture sector, they are doing fishing, they do trade business, those near the borders, which it can help them to move faster, also to increase productivity. Information technology foster innovation in business, innovation result in smarter apps, improve the data storage, also increase value to enhance quality and boost productivities. These I wanted to emphasize how this technology, if it includes technology infrastructures, if it's increased among women as entrepreneurs, it can contribute a lot to the continent economic development. So back to what we are doing as Corrected Lab Africa, we committed to empower women in science, technology, and education, because if women are empowered in education, if women embrace the technology, they can create a lot of jobs rather than focusing on only other sectors. But if women are empowered, particularly in our time in technology, digital matters, they can contribute a lot. Also for whole family, because women back home, they're the right at home, because their partners, children, they listen to them, they have when they give advice to matters of development, they listen well effectively. So that's my contribution, and we are committed in partnership with the World Talent Economic Forum. We are committed to start very soon to train over 200 women at each border, closing to Rwanda, on my entrepreneurship in a trade business. We're going to train them not only in Rwanda, but later also we are going abroad Africa to train each of those women traders, women entrepreneurs. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharif. We are together, and together we can for all those speakers today.
Thank you.
And others.
Thank you, Madam Diana. Thank you, Madam Diana. Now I request my friend Jennifer.
How you doing? Sorry, I was just trying to see if we could get Lorraine to call in by her cell phone. Yeah, thanks for having me today. Well, if we're referencing specifically how we can do information technologies to help women in different parts of Africa, I think what everyone's been talking about so far. Hold on a second.
Yes,
Lorraine, you're
Jennifer, please
muted.
continue.
I think I was muted by the host, so
Yes.
now I've been unmuted. Okay, fine.
Okay.
I
Oh my
can,
gosh, this has been quite an experience. All right, well, here I am.
I can speak later. Let's let Lorraine talk while she's on
Okay.
here.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you.
still
Thank you,
here and
Jennifer.
alive and audible. Okay. Thank you so much for your patience, everybody. So this has been quite a journey. I'm an immigrant from South Africa, as you can hear from my accent. I come from South Africa. I've been living in America for 47 years. And when I immigrated here, I was studying to be a barrister and went back into law and really had no contacts, no school friends, no university friends, nothing. It was pretty lonely. And I was very concerned about not having a mentor, not having a guide. And I made a lot of mistakes, which one does as a new immigrant, in terms of choosing schools and jobs and things like that. And I kept saying to myself, if I can ever make it in this country, this amazing place, I am determined. And by the way, Dulce, I live in California, just like you do. I'm determined to come back and help other women who walk the road less traveled, like I do, which women who are not sort of the normal. In South Africa, there were only 3 women in my law school class. In America, there 20% of the class was women. And there were certainly not many who were able to become managing partners or really become senior. Anyway, so what happened was that I practiced law for a few years and I absolutely hated it. It was not for me. I jumped ship and became an entrepreneur and had a number of failures and then fortunately some successes. And all the while I was looking for a mentor, any kind of mentor. In fact, I had a lot of non-mentors, people who said all the things I couldn't do, which was kind of interesting because I'm a bit like a bull in a china shop. So if you give me a red flag, I'm probably going to go right for it. And so over time, I did have some successes. I built a healthcare company, freestanding ambulatory care clinics, airport urgent care, and sold that. And then became CEO of an advanced materials company, products used for microchip manufacture in the electronics and aerospace industries. And that was my very happy place. Again, not many women, probably one other woman in aerospace who's still a dear friend of mine today, who became the chairman of and CEO of the Aerospace Corporation, Wanda Austin. But otherwise, not many women. And so as I prepared my remarks for today, I was looking up Rwandan women who have been so successful. And I think, Sharif, that we have a lot to learn from Rwandan women because you have some amazing leaders who after the genocide became really 60% of the workplace and the majority of your government seats are held by women. So, in the US, we have a lot to copy and admire in that area. And so I would love to share with you how as my life became more successful, and I built the aerospace business and sold it, and then became an executive education teacher at Caltech, the California Institute of Technology, to technology executives. I taught there for 24 years in the area of strategic partnering and built the leading consultancy in the space. That really became the vehicle for me to see how to help other women. I sold that company and took the money I made and put it into paying it forward. In other words, endowment funds for the high school where I went to in South Africa, where I paid for the 9th through 12th grade private school education of little black girl, little white girl, and also now the University of Cape Town education of a young black lady who is studying to be an actuary and hopefully will become the Minister of Finance of South Africa one day, if I can help her to do that. Also at my law school in Los Angeles and my business school, I looked for exceptional women. I gave them money and I gave them my commitment to mentor them for the rest of my life. And when I got to 24 women, I realized that there was so much more I could do, not just at the institutions which had supported and educated me. And so I set up a nonprofit, which is indeed the Exceptional Women Awardees Foundation. And I went to a number of the clients that I had served in the strategic partnering area, companies like Intel, Korn Ferry, KPMG, Amgen, JLL, and others. And I said, would you be willing to support a nonprofit where we have only one mission, and that is to enable high-level, high-potential women to reach their dreams? There are many nonprofits who help women in high school, in early college, and early in their careers, but not many who help women who get high on the pyramid and then for various reasons, whether it's healthcare, family, economics, get bounced off. We don't want that to happen. We want them to get to the very top of the pyramid of success in business. And so a number of the companies said yes. We are now 84 women from over 40 different industries. Our women come from all over North America. And we truly do help to change lives one woman at a time. And as you well know, when a woman changes her life, her family changes their lives, her community does, and eventually her country. And so what is it that we do? Well, I have opened my home to these women, and we host them here at my home. I live on an urban farm in the middle of Los Angeles. We raise goats and cows and chickens. It's a little bit of Africa that I brought with me. And we also have some guest houses where these women stay. They are with us for 3 weekends a year. And every time they come, they meet with their own mentor, their own dedicated mentor, who is a woman who has gone through the program and has understood what we're trying to do and will mentor that woman for the rest of her life. So all of us are volunteers, none of us are paid. We all donate our time for the betterment of our sisters. This is not a networking group. This is truly a sisterhood. So to give you some examples, we had one woman who is a very senior, she's the chief human resource officer in a very with the company when they were actually bought by a much larger company. And she realized that even as CHRO, she just didn't have the finance knowledge to understand this acquisition that was happening and all the incredibly complex investment banking and financial issues that were happening. So we convened 3 of our public company CFOs who are in the group, who completely for free surrounded her for 2 weeks, gave her the schooling to get her up to speed so that she wouldn't have to ask questions and look as if she were ignorant. That's the kind of thing we do. And so how can this help the women of Rwanda? I know that you already have many groups that convene, but I have 6 recommendations, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can. One of them is to take those amazingly powerful and successful women from Rwanda. And, you know, just to name a few who were actually listed as the top, three of the top 100 influential women in Africa. There's a ranking done. 3 women from Rwanda were included in that. Agnes Binagwaho, I don't know if I have her name right, Binagwaho, with Agnes Kalibata, and also Louise Mushikiwabo. So these are already 3 amazing women. I would suggest that you convene the most powerful woman in Rwanda into a meeting. These are leaders who already inspire and influence others positively. And then create an entity that's a non-profit, because really nobody should be making money from this. This is a commitment of love and intelligence to help women. And by the way, it's not just women, because you cannot applaud with one hand. You have to applaud with both. And so, Dulce, what you had said in your early remarks, men and women in the workplace have to work and collaborate together. Establish a location, preferably donated, where these women can safely convene at least 3 times a year to be mentored by their peers, so that they are never alone. They never have to wonder whether they can get an answer to a question. There's always a sisterhood there to support them. They could also meet remotely. Our women meet remotely every 2 weeks, and they meet their mentor every 2 weeks remotely. And then find sponsors who will donate funds either to support these weekends, and of course all the administration that goes with it, food, travel, other expenses. And most importantly of all is to create a series of metrics by which the women can measure themselves from the beginning to the end of the program. And that's what we've done. And we see women going on boards, being appointed CEO, selling their companies. I mean, the amount of success and joy is shared by the whole sisterhood, and it is truly something amazing to see. So those are just some of those suggestions. I don't know if they'll work for the women in Rwanda. I have a feeling that they will. Be sure to have no more than 9 or 10 women in each cohort, because these become very close sisterhoods. And of course, I'm happy to advise and help in any way I can. I hope this addressed some of the things you were interested in.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for your excellent presentation. Now I request Madam Jennifer.
Hi, everyone. It's great to have all of you here. It's wonderful that these types of things are being developed. I don't work specifically in information and communication technologies, but it's nice to see that many of you here do, and you're familiar with that. Really, I think with anything, just I have a couple just brief, suggestions, and it's things that obviously you're already trying to do by what you're working on and by being here. But just to not just in countries that are developing, even in developed countries, we still need to make more of a place for women to be involved with these kind of things. But here, since we're specifically discussing how we're going to expand things for women in information and communication technologies in Africa, would be to do more of what you're doing and connect. Just as Lorraine was saying, and as Sharif is trying to do for all of us, to connect with one another, to the people that are working, also interested in these topics. Not to isolate ourselves and think that we have to do everything, ourselves, or keep everything, private and this kind of thing. It's really going to be about expanding as much as we can with one another, to put these opportunities through. All of the things that you were discussing about the companies that are helping, already is amazing. That's amazing progress. So just to keep connecting with one another, reaching out all of these opportunities, because it's going to be very important, in development of different things, even how it's Diane, right? was speaking about the farming. There's things that can be developed technologically in regards to the farming. There could be there's a lot of different proposals even for vertical farming. I don't know if how far that you guys have gotten along with any kind of proposals on vertical farming, but it's very I feel important that it may initially be a little more complicated to set up than traditional horizontal farming because it's newer. But in a lot of ways, it helps because we're able to enclose the crops. So we're able to protect against the different elements, the droughts, the pests, without having to put any kind of chemicals and things on them. The yields are much more vertically than traditional horizontal farming. So there's many different things that can be brought in, and I think what you guys are already doing about trying to get it set up for people to learn all of the coding and the programming in regards to this is very important, because persons are going to need to know all of that to have it set up, and then it can expand out into these other forms of technology besides just the coding and things for that you're going to be able to base it on. I think you have a good network here that you're going to be able to continue this progress that you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. I just want to go for the closing remarks for today because World Talent Economy Forums, it's very new, just 1 year, 6 months. It's in online, but last more than 12 years with my team, we contribute in education and many industrial area, especially in the developing nations. So when we try to develop this World Talent Economy Forum, we always focus on that how we can solve problem of developing world. So because I am also from developing world, I saw that there are a lot of challenges, lot of problems, especially we have to integrate it with modern science, engineering, and technology. And always I believe that the developed world, if they can share their resources, their knowledge, and their collaboration with the developing world, then we can solve many problems together. That's why we developed this World Talent Economy Forum. One of the major problems we find in developing world, that meritocracy, we have to focus on meritocracy. That's why we're discussing on ICT for women entrepreneurship. So when I discuss about this meritocracy issues, I find that there are many talented, even there are many women talented in my life I find, but they cannot share or explore their talent because of they do not have enough exposure or they do not have enough relationship. That's why we developed this World Talent Economy Forum. Beside this open dialogue programs, we do research, coaching, and consulting. And we only focus on three areas. Number one, people. We always believe that people development is important. That's why we are communicated with the Colat Lab and we are collaborating with Colat Lab. And we will train 600 women entrepreneurs in Rwanda and Africa next 1 year. Besides that, in Asia, we also train another 600 women. This will be 1,200 entrepreneurs we will train. Then we focus on projects because there are a lot of unemployment problem, especially in the COVID-19 situation. Even we grow in the COVID-19 situation, we find that we need a lot of projects and investment. Even we attend in the Dubai Expo with the integration, with the collaborations of Malaysia Climate Change Departments. It's a government organization, as well as we attend in the COP26. And we find that public-private partnership also very important. And we always believe that developing nations a major problem. Madam Ainul Jaria said corruptions and other things, but we need better policy. If we have a better policy, then we can solve many problems. And always we believe that if we can solve these things, number one, if we can focus on meritocracy, that's why we developed this World Talent Economy Forum, and we focused on information and communication technology because this is the way we can utilize our capacity. And number two, we have to focus on like poverty reduction, and it's one and only possible in the developing world if we can reduce the corruption. Example, Singapore is a very good model. Malaysia also developing that they reduce the corruption, and if we can reduce corruption, then we can economically we can be more sustainable. And number three, we want to focus on better policy, because if we have a great policy, then we can handle our projects and everything properly. That's why we always offer that if you have a better human resources, that's why we focus on people analysis and people development. If you have a interesting and innovative projects, that's why we connected Silicon Valley, Stanford University, MIT, and other organizations. And number three, if we have a better policy, then our national like sustainable economy development is possible. So World Talent Economy Forums, this is our 429 episode. It's mean last 429 days, day and night, we just working on the developments. We are working on the development, the human resources. We are working on the development of the open dialogue. We are working on the development of the resource allocation and everything. It's not easy for us. It's very tough, but we have one and only motivation, because when my father died in 2017, he is also a lawyer. He was a freedom fighter for his country, and he always said to me, and I learned from my fathers, always contribute through knowledge. If you have enough knowledge and if you can contribute for human resources, then you will be part of the history. So that's why I believe the speakers, those who join in World Talent Economy Forum, they share their knowledge, they share their experience, they share their views, and I'm very much happy. Like United Nations, World Economy Forum, different Ivy League university, people from Silicon Valley, different corporations from North America, Europe, and Asia. Many intellectuals like Madam Ainul Jaria from Asia, they always join in World Talent Economy Forum. And this is the way we can enrich. We just provide our support to Malaysia and Rwanda. We starting our collaborations with India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and 57 Muslim community. But we are open for all of the countries because I believe, especially in the grassroots level, media never go in the grassroots level. Large corporation never go to the grassroots level. I am from a very, very small village in Bangladesh. So I know the pain of grassroots level. I'm discussing about my father. In the last moment, I cannot arrange proper treatment for my father. This is the challenges of Rwanda. This is the challenges of Bangladesh. This is the challenges of many developing worlds. So that's why we need to work together. We need to work hard, and especially we need to support underprivileged people. We need to support women. We need to support developing nations people, because in the COVID-19 situation, we learn, at least we learn from the different study, if the global community do not work together, this is the failure, and the failure for everyone. If I believe I am from the developed nation, I am safe, things are not true. If I believe I am in a very good place, I am safe, it's not true. So we have to work together, we have to collaborate together, and always we have to focus on the problem, and we need to find out the solution. So that's why the politician, the corporations, and the academy, I request everyone, please support World Talent Economy Forums with your knowledge, with your expertise, with your solution. I believe in between next 1 years, we can solve millions of people problem. And I'm sure all of the speakers, those who joined today, they will be part of the history, and all of the nationalities from the developing world, they will remember you, and you will be hero for their history. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. That is World Talent Economy Forum objective. I'm not alone. We have a big team, those who always support World Talent Economy Forum. Like many speakers, we have 50 speakers, those who are our board of advisors, like Professor Donald. Beside that, we have our own team. There are men, women. Always, I try to make a good ratio. And final things, economical sustainability is very, very important right now. When we focus on the women empowerment and training and development, yes, we are not hungry for money, but for sustainability of our projects, we are going for fundraising. So any organization want to support our honest initiative, because we are 100% transparent. Day and night we are working. You can support our initiative, even though with your knowledge you can support us, with your expertise you can support us. The one and only things, Why I'm focusing on this country like Rwanda, Collated Lab, and everything? I find they have brilliant minds. They have many talented. They have many opportunity, but because of good exposures and the relationship and the right kind of support, maybe they cannot utilize their knowledge and expertise. So hopefully, with all of our support, we can develop new world, and that is our objective. Thank you, Madam Dulcie, Professor Donalds, Madam Betlav, Jennifer, Diana, Professor Ainul Jaria, Manu, and Madam who is actually working, Larian, actually working for women empowerment, and really want to give special thanks to her. So I directly want to go for the concluding remarks. I want to start from Dulcie, like in between 30 seconds to 1 minute. You can share your views.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that some of the things I was sharing, I was with the understanding of trying to empower and trying to share, empower, that we don't have to rely on big government or big corporations to get into technology. You can do it on your own. You can do it at the grassroots. You can work with your community to make it happen. But I do want to say something really important. The reason why I was sharing with you the metaverse is that is something that is coming down like a jackhammer on society. And people aren't really aware that it's something that's here and now. And all the
Yeah.
big corporations are setting it up so that they can ensnare most of society into their networks, and make you feel like you can't compete with it, and you can't build something alternative to it. And I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. You can compete with it. You can make something alternative to it. Do that. Make sure you do that. Have agency over your own domains. Learn the software, learn how the hardware works, learn what the sensors are doing and the data that it's pulling off of your body, and and your community and your people. Understand that these things don't necessarily really aren't 100% for humanity. We need to turn them into things, tools that are for humanity. So just that's my closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Donald.
Well, I just want to continue with what I'm saying a little bit, is that all the relationships that you build are knowledge. And one of the things that when they study the psychology of innovation, the one thing of the big five psychological characteristics that's common among all innovators is openness to experience. And being able to get into other people's worlds and learn what they want and what they need and the problems that they have and solve is the key to being innovative. And what Lorraine is doing by getting people to having people have mentors is exactly the kind of thing that I'm talking about, because each of these mentors is a connection into knowledge and just value that you wouldn't be able to get on your own. And for a country like Rwanda, which is, as I does have a lot of women leaders, and it's pretty amazing in that way. I'm especially big on Finland, which is completely, all of its government is women under 35. And I did a Google search, and if you Google search women managers Harvard Business Review, you'll find article after article that show that women managers are actually far better than men managers when it comes to return on investment. The companies are more successful, and the people are happier, and all kinds of wonderful stuff. So I think that promoting women is good for men as well as for women. So the connections that Rwanda can make that into the rest of the world, that's something Finland has done very successfully, is be able to completely, is to connect. It's a little country with no resources, but it's very successful. It's the happiest country in the world. People are very well off. And they've done it by establishing relationships with other countries and other people. and what I said about individuals applies to countries, it applies to organizations, it applies to everything. So I hope that that's something that we'll continue to do. And one of the ways to continue to do it is to continue to work with World Talent Economic Forum, which is something that's been building those relationships. I mean, look at this group. I mean, everywhere in the world, and I'm on this show often, and I get to meet the most incredible, fantastic people from everywhere, and it's delightful. And I really want to thank Sharif for the hard work he's been doing.
Thank you. Madam Betlav, what's your concluding remarks?
Thank you so much, Sharif, and everybody. It's been extremely inspiring. I think for my concluding remarks, I want to first of all say, that I'm a white woman with an advanced degree that lives in the state of California, and I can't. It would be inappropriate for me to speak for people in the developing world, and so I cannot do that. But what I can do is say that I know my own culture well, and I know that we've made a lot of mistakes, and that even though what we have right now, the paradigm that we have right now, where there's part of the world that has way more than we need, and there's other parts of the world that have far less than they need, that paradigm is wrong, but that we need to upend it, not try to bring the developed world to where we are, and not to bring the developing world to where we are in the developed world, but to find a new model, to find a paradigm, to embrace a paradigm that puts people and life and the earth before profits. And the meritocracy, for example, has not worked very well in our country to level the playing field. It has not worked to bring prosperity and health and well-being to all. It has been very oppressive. And the good GDP, all of those things in the old model have not really worked to lift up the world. They've only worked to lift up certain people who have the most already, far more than they need. So I just want to, my word to the developing world is create a new model, get into a new paradigm, use these wonderful things that are being suggested here, like Donald, mix it up with people who come from different fields and who you never would have met ordinarily, so that we can all learn together, so that we can all lift each other up, so that we can truly live in a world where there's a human presence that's sustainable and healthy and well-fed and compassionate and just, and where everyone can thrive.
Thank you.
So Sharif, if I could just add one or two thoughts. I wanted to mention what the screens are that we screen our women for. We have very specific requirements. Besides the gravitas, the level of success, the economic, social, and community impact that we ask of them before they can become a candidate. When they get to an admissions interview, and this is something which I highly recommend, and Beth, it's right on line with what you just said. We screen for kindness. We screen for a sense of gratitude, because by the time you've reached some level of success, you need to have gratitude for where you are in order to pay it forward to others. We screen for a spirit of generosity and generosity of spirit. We screen for transparency. In other words, women who are willing to say, I don't know everything and I need help. And we screen for women who are truly willing to open their networks to others within the sisterhood. And so because of that, we have a very, very special culture of people who are givers, not takers. And I don't mean giving in a financial sense. I mean a heart kind of giving. So here you have, 80 plus exceptionally successful women from 40 different industries, but their major mission is to help each other. And that is sort of in alignment, Beth, with what your vision and dream is for a better world for everybody. And of course, it works at their workplace and their home place too. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, ma'am. I believe that your organization can support more people, more women in developing world, not only in Africa, even in Asia Pacific. And definitely with your support, I believe many women can take proper initiative. As a researcher, in gender area, I just want to share one view. Definitely, we need to change our political system because political decisions also very very important. Let's say Jennifer, she is a politician in USA for Transhumanist Party, but I want to encourage more women to develop like engage in politics because without politics they cannot take proper decision, they cannot change the society, and definitely women can develop better policy. That is one of our interesting aspects. So then, Jennifer, what's your concluding remarks?
Yes, I would just like to agree with that statement that, as many people that can run, women, or people in general that care about, really care about a better world, for everyone, and taking care of the planet. So please run if you're able. I know that it's different circumstances all around the world, and different circumstances for each individual. So I know that not everybody is able to run. It can be very time consuming and expensive, and different things. But if you can really make a lot of impact if you are able to get it locally. Even, you don't necessarily just have to run to be president of your country or something like that. But even mayors and persons like that, they really can make a big difference. So if anyone is able to do that, that would be great. And then also, I just wanted to touch on what Sharif was saying too before, just about this forum being the global think tank, really, that it is, and that's what we really need. We obviously won't be able to solve all of the information and communication technologies problems today in this one forum. But by being having so many different forums, and by meeting everyone, we can revisit these topics, and expand on them more and more, and connect with each other and expand on them more and more. And I agree with what he said, that we will be able to do a lot of problem solving here over the years. So it's very
Thank
nice
you.
to meet all of you.
Thank you. You
Yeah.
are also part of our board of advisors, so you are
Uh,
in, and everyone plan is always welcome. Those who want to join in our board, we want to welcome them. You have to. We can join in dialogue. You can join in our research and policy development program. So this is the way we can work together. Madam Diana, what's your concluding remarks?
Thank you so much. I'm impressed. I don't know where to start because all speakers here, I'm dreaming like I was watching near me at the airport. I need all of them to be here soon. I need the physical meeting with them. I,
Okay.
I didn't get them in our spring training. We need to have, what if within 3 months, we need to have those six women entrepreneurs in farming. Uh, those and Jennifer, also other speakers, also particularly Lauren and Donald, Reverend Betty, and Lauren mentioned that also she suggested that we can invite those uh, um, Honorable Mushichiwao also, and the other two women, so that we can bring them in a meeting. Yes, we can
Thank you.
deliver the
Thank you. That's
message,
why
and we can
World
plan that
Talent.
to
Yes.
engage her. And once we plan
Yes.
that, you're most welcome. We can have a physical meeting with all those women you mentioned.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We
Definitely.
will deliver the
Definitely.
message to them.
They will work with our World Talent Economy Forum and we will contribute for your development. Professor Ainul Jaria, she is a scholar as well as a policymaker for Malaysian government. So, ma'am, what's your concluding remarks? How we can develop better policy for women?
Thank you, Sharif, and it's been such a great pleasure listening to everyone. I think I'm with you. I mean, to do things, we want not to only speak, but we want to get into action. Let's start working on something positive. Policy, action plans, strategies, and of course funding. We need to identify where is the source of funding, because without funding, things can't move as well. I mean, we want to help people; they will need money, isn't it? So I believe that we can do it. We can empower. We are empowered. So it's high time, with this COVID-19 lurking around us, we have lost our loved ones. We have lost opportunities. in fact, we have lost so much in this past. I think it's about going to be 2 years that we have lost the social fabric's uniqueness. So we need to come together and see how we can reach out to those who have, been victimized, and with these lockdowns, small business get, affected. And also these affected lives. So let's see how we can reach out to, it's not the whole world, not the billions, but maybe thousands. Some. Let's create a ripple. I mean, we can. I'm sure. Seeing all the energy here. In fact, I wanted to leave, but then I stayed on because it's a very, very important agenda for us women. And we can bring, I mean, we can tackle issues. Of course, Donald, you're part of us, although you and Sharif are the thorn, but we roses, we we can help soften the thorns and be part of the entire thing. Like I think Beth, was it? You said that there is it's more competency, yeah. So we work on competency, not woman and man. So when everyone is given equal opportunity, competency can be developed. And when we are competent, we are empowered. We have to empower others. Thank you, Sharif.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Manio, what's your concluding remarks?
Okay, thank you. I think I've learned a lot today from all of you, and I feel matured as well because of you today. What I can say is we as women, we have to be innovative. Like the tech space, there's always something new every day. So we can't repeat what's already there. I think we have to be part of the leading innovators. We have to stop being the consumers of technology. We have to start being in the leading position. Now that Donald has said that women are making good managers, I think now we have to be part of innovators. We have to be there. When you talk about innovators around the world, there has to be a woman. We have to stop repeating or copying, but let's be innovative. And I'm happy to be here. I have learned a lot today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's sessions. That is our objective. Even Professor Ainunjalia, I am a man, but I do research on glass ceiling factors, gender issues. Even Professor Donald, he's also expert in psychology and gender and different issues. Actually, man, woman, colors, this is not a matter. And one of the session I shared that my brother live in Britain, Southampton, and my brother daughter is white. Yes, he married a white lady in Britain. So color, genders, it's not a matter. Matter how we can work together and how we can change the society. So that is the factors we always working World Talent Economy Forum. We want to focus on meritocracy. Those who talent, they can join. Those who want to mentor talent, they can join. Those who want to provide support to the developing nations from the developed world, they can join. We want to welcome everyone from right wing, from left wing, from everywhere. We are not a political organization. Yes, we want to develop a better policy for our nation. So all of your contribution will be extremely valuable for us. And definitely we need to be more careful about women and women leaderships. And I request all of the tech corporations, academy and political organization, you should give them more opportunity in the leadership positions, because we know that if women become leaders, they can contribute more. Thank you, Madam Dulcie, Professor Donalds, Madam Bethlaf, Madam Jennifer, Diana, Manio, Madam Larins, and Professor Ainul Jaria for joining today's session. We need all of your support. Thank you. Bye-bye and take care.
Bye-bye.